This is a market review for January 8th, 2025. As we can see, today's candle was very, very low volume, which makes sense after a huge day we had yesterday. We did still close within this daily BISI, however. With how today acted, I am looking now for this to be the high of the week and for us to continue driving lower for the rest of the week. If we go down to the hourly, we can see there's a whole lot of nothing that was done today. Um, so London session rallied, took out this high, and then reversed down, which made me realize or think that if London reverses, New York usually expands. But we kind of just went horizontal today, which most likely means that NFP this week is going to be rather significant. If we go down to the 15-minute and bring in some of the drawings. Here again, we can see London session pushing bullish until we take out these highs, and then it reverses because 6 o'clock is still London session. London session technically closes around New York's lunchtime, but pre-market opens at 7 o'clock, so that's when New York pre-market starts and London ends in my mind. So since we reversed at 6 o'clock, that means London reversed, which means that New York is likely to continue that. So here we are at 7. What we end up doing is end up pushing below this low here, which is yesterday's low of the day, before we start pushing higher and higher and higher, retracing up to this 15-minute, which we tap multiple times throughout the day. Keep an eye on this. This is a fair value gap that I extended that gets a ton of reactions on the 1 minute, and in my mind was kind of the focal point of the entirety of AM session. Coming down to the 5 minute, we can again see the rally in London, the reversal in London, and then the drop. And so with this retrace here, after taking out this low, it would be reasonable to expect a bearish run from New York session. We had 8:30 red folder news, 10:30 yellow folder news, and then FOMC at 2:30. So that is what we were working with news, which is partly why I feel that this was so messy. As we can see here, this 15-minute extended, you can already see it here. We got 1, 2 playing bullish, and then we come through, taps it here, rejects, gets above it, and then uses it for support. So it got flipped multiple times. Support and resistance traders would have absolutely loved that if they were able to find it. But I'm not a support and resistance trader, so I did not use it at all. For the first, I don't know, half an hour, the opening range, absolutely no work, but we did end up rallying above this high with the macro at the last 10 minutes of 9 o'clock before dropping down to, well, we failed to sweep this. I don't believe it's an SMT. Actually, no, this is an SMT. It's just marked on the 1 minute as an SMT. This right here is an SMT, which makes sense for this rally. I mean, this is a characteristic of search and destroy, in my opinion, because I mean, we have a high, we take the high. We have a low, ES takes the low. We have a high, we take the high. We have a low, we take the low. We have a high, we take the high. I mean, 5 different highs and lows have been made today, so that's pretty seek and destroy, in my opinion. A lot of big candles here that were just slowly filled and expansive moves on both sides, and then we ended up meandering off at the end of the day. Not much on the 5 minute, but if we go down to the 1 minute, we see here 7 o'clock pushed through this low, creating this one, which price used to rally with this fair value gap and this 5 minute fair value gap. And here again is this 15-minute fair value gap here, which I believe comes from this candle. I'm not entirely sure how the candles line up between the 1 minute and the 15, but let's keep going. There's this 1 minute here. Price pushes up, retraces, and you would kind of just go into marking time, going horizontal from 9 to 9:30. That's what I use to gauge how reactive and how quick the opening range is going to be. And we can see price doesn't really look to be doing much during the 9 to 9:30 area, and that would match with what we got from the opening range. We moved a whole lot, but nothing too convincing. Once the macro hit at 50, we took out this low and then rallied higher, taking out this high, creating an SMT between this and ES. If we pull up ES, let's try to find it. It's this high right here. If we look, 10 o'clock high here is lower than the previous ones. Go back to NQ. 10 o'clock high is higher than these ones. And so if I was bearish today, which I wasn't, because honestly I was kind of confused and unmotivated to trade after seeing all this, but with this SMT and this used as an inverse, with this, which went one tick in, which arguably would not have even filled me, targeting these lows and these lows, we would have made some profit. And then at 10:15, price starts reversing, where we get this. So the reason I marked out this zone, and I did this not live, but I did it when it was happening. The reason I marked that out is because of the reaction it got off this. We pushed through it, disrespected it, tapped into it, and then gave a good reaction off this, which tells me that this zone is validated, which is why I extended it, because it's likely that if it is used here and we push back above it, that price will come back and use this zone again, which it does, and then it expands up. Mark some time before gradually going up. Let's look. I forgot to mention it, but if we look at this 15-minute, I'm not sure if this is before or after it was formed, so we're just going to ignore that. But we get once here at roughly 10 minutes after market open. Taps again during the macro, the closures, concentrated encroachment, and the low here. Push through it, and again, it was validated here, so I was expecting price to come up into it here and then sell off if we were to continue lower, which it did, but it failed to make that low. And I do believe that this low here was made lower on ES, but for the sake of keeping the charts clean, I anchored, for this SMT, I anchored it just on the overall low and not where ES made the low. And then we push higher again above it, come back down to it here, mess around concentrated encroachment, and then we come back to the low before leaving it for the AM session. So what it looks like lunch did is it just seeked any untouched liquidity for the day and took it. So since we were, I'm not going to say we were working our way up, but since we were closer, let's say, to this high, we pushed up there first. Lunch took out this high, and then as we can see, kind of does nothing for a bit before deciding to come take out all of these relative equal lows. Here, finally, turning around at this new day opening gap, and then working its way back up to take out this. Once the algorithm kicks back in at 130, price comes down to this. I want to say this is a 15-minute. I didn't mark it. No, it's a 5-minute. So this right here is a 5-minute fair value gap that price comes down to. If we look at constant encroachment, the bodies respect that pretty well. And then we drop up, take out this high, come back down, and then mark time until market closes. So if just looking at this day, yes, there were big moves, and there was time where money could have been made. One being here, two being on this one up. And I'm sure there's some people who would have taken this as a turtle soup, recognizing that it was a seek and destroy day. However, looking at this price action here, even before market open, so at 9:30 here, anything left of this point here, I just, especially this just does not look appetizing at all. And then the opening range as well kind of threw me off for the rest of the day, and my motivation to enter died right there. If I did enter off this, I would have won, but I'm not looking to enter whenever I can. I'm looking to enter on high probability setups. And in my opinion, with this price action here, there was no high probability setups with my experience level. So as far as the rest of the week goes, I am switching because earlier in the week I thought that this would possibly get broken and I'd like to play bullish for the rest of the week. However, after seeing Tuesday's huge move and then us kind of kilter out here and it being Wednesday with NFP, I would like to see this stay as the high of the week and for us to come down and take out this low here. I think this might be too much to ask for as a target, but definitely this one. But again, it depends what happens overnight as to what I will be looking for tomorrow. And then we have NFP on Friday, so Thursday and Friday are iffy to trade, and I will just be observing because I'm not entirely sure if my strategy is plausible during the iffy conditions, that is Thursday and Friday of NFP, or if it's still tradable. That's just something that I'll have to observe and keep note of. But I mean, just looking at this, the size of these wicks, the lack of trend today was very, very, very iffy, and I'm glad I did not end up taking a trade today. I mean, I could have, and it probably would have won. But as far as high probability setups go, that would not have been one of them. So this has been a market review for January 8th, 2025.